Although coconut and caramel sounds like an odd combination, it works in this Argentine dessert known as Tarta de Dulce de Leche y Coco Rallado. Although the combination of coconut and dulce de leche is delicious on its own, the combination of textures is what puts this over the top. In my opinion, this dessert is one of the best kept secrets of Argentine cuisine, so if you want in on it, keep watching. As with the other desserts in this series on Argentine desserts, this dulce de leche and coconut pie uses a type of dough called a masa frolla, a type of crust used not only to make pasta frolla, but many other Argentine desserts. It's soft, crumbly, lemony, buttery, and incredibly delicious. I already did a video on how to make this easy, no-roll short crust pastry, so I'll be sure to put a link in the description box. For this coconut and dulce de leche tart, you will need half of one dough recipe, about 300 grams. Once your dough is ready, you can start making your tarta de dulce de leche y coco rallado. So the first step in making a dulce de leche and coconut tart is the bottom crust. I use a masa frolla, the same recipe that I use for the pasta frolla. I'll include a link to that recipe. You only need half of a recipe, so a little over 300 grams of dough. I pressed it into this 8-inch pie dish, and I put the zest of one small orange, about half of a lemon. About half of a teaspoon of lemon zest, because this was frozen, and when I thaw it, I like to add a little bit more lemon to it. All I'm going to do is add dulce de leche. This is homemade dulce de leche from sweet condensed milk. I will add that recipe as well, link below. You can see, turned out very nicely. This is dulce de leche repostero, which means that it is thick. It is thick enough to put in the middle of layers of cake. It's thick enough to put in sandwich cookies. So this is exactly what we want. I'm going to do 500 grams. So I'm going to need a little over one of these containers. And if you do not want to make dulce de leche, you can definitely buy it. I know people who made my choco torta said that they were able to find it without much problem. Let's do 512, that's good. Now I'm just going to take my spoon and smooth it out. And then once this is all smoothed out, I will start the next step. So now the dulce de leche is in the tart. I use a spoon to just smooth it out and spread it out like that. Took a few minutes, pretty simple. And now for the top. I know a lot of people don't really like coconut, but this really isn't meant to be a coconut pie. It's the combination of not only flavors but also textures. Because you have the dulce de leche that's rich and creamy, and then the coconut that goes on top will actually become two layers. The bottom part that touches the dulce de leche is going to be soft and it's going to be moist, but then the top part of the coconut layer, that's going to toast and it's going to be crispy. It's just a combination of different things than with the crust itself. Very delicious. Even if you don't like coconut, I think you should give this a try. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things. So here in this bowl I have 190 grams of sweetened flaked coconut, which I believe is about 3/4 of a cup, a little bit more. I'll have to check. I have 190 grams of sugar, which is just under 1 cup the way that I measure. 2 eggs, and that's the very standard recipe, but I'm also going to add 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt along with a teaspoon of coconut extract. I've made coconut chess pie in the past, and I'll make it again for you guys on YouTube. And I added coconut extract, and it was really good. So I'm going to do it this time as well. That's not something people use in Argentina, but I think it's going to turn out well. But if you do not like coconut, do not add the extract, to stick with this. So to this, like I said, the 2 eggs and the sugar. Sugar's kind of clumpy, but that's okay. Just break it up like that. And the salt, coconut extract. And I'm just going to stir these together. Bigger bowl would probably have been helpful. So it took about a minute, but the coconut is all mixed with the sugar and the egg. Now what I'm going to do is just simply put this on top of the dulce de leche. And then once again, I will spread it out. I'm going to use a spoon for this. I seem to be able to control things a bit better with a spoon than that. Bring it to the edges. I'm going to scrape this bowl too. So honestly, that's pretty easy. I think if you wanted to, you could use a pre-made pie crust, not a shortbread or not a short crust pastry, not a masa frolla, just a regular American pie crust if you wanted to. But like I said, the texture with this crust is incredible. The hardest part with this is the baking. So it's going to go in at 350 for 45 minutes. And then, I mean, it'll be done, but if you want it to be toasted more on the top, it's going to go into the broiler. But this time, instead of turning on the broiler, I ended up just baking it for longer, and it turned out fine. Although sometimes a broiler is indispensable, I think that this tart shows that sometimes there's more than one way to do something. If one way is easier or less risky, that's probably the way to go. Because as you're about to find out, a broiler can be pretty unforgiving. If you have never broiled anything, have to be kind of careful, because literally 20 seconds can make the difference between something that should be in a chef magazine and something that you should put on Instagram or Twitter with the hashtag kitchen fails. So if you don't have to use a broiler, don't. Besides, not using the broiler is less quilombo. So I just took out the coconut and dulce de leche tart. It was in at 350 for 55 minutes. And I actually did not need to turn on the broiler. So honestly, I think maybe it could be a little bit browner there, but honestly, I think it's so close. I've got other things to do, more cakes to bake, so I'll just go with this. No idea why I didn't need to broil it this time. Now that I know I can make this recipe without having to use the broiler, it's even easier. Although it may look pretty unassuming and it may just look like it's a coconut pie, once you cut into it, you see the truth. This coconut and dulce de leche tart is incredible. Like I said in the beginning, it's not only about the combination of flavors, but also the combination of textures, something that is very common in a lot of Argentine desserts. Although I knew that I liked this crust and dulce de leche, the first time I made this tart, what really surprised me was the coconut topping. As you're about to see up close, the coconut layer really turns into two layers. The bottom layer is moist and chewy, and the top layer is crisp and toasty. Two different flavors and textures. The crisp and toasted coconut, along with the moist and chewy coconut, on top of the creamy and smooth dulce de leche, along with the soft and crumbly dough. This coconut and dulce de leche tart is an incredible combination of texture. And even though I put on a good amount of coconut, along with a bit of coconut extract, it really doesn't have that much coconut flavor. That's another surprising thing. Don't get me wrong, there is a hint of coconut there, but I think the combination of the toasted coconut and the moist coconut, along with the dulce de leche and the buttery and lemony masa, everything just comes together so much that you kind of forget what's there. Honestly, I think the coconut is there more for texture anyway, so even if you don't like coconut, you will like this. Although coconut chess pie, or basically a pecan pie with coconut instead of pecans, exists in the United States, I'm not aware of any pie commonly made that combines coconut with some sort of caramel. Although this pie is definitely unique and very Argentine, I couldn't find a lot about the history of this recipe. Although this Tarta de Dulce de Leche y Coconut Rallado exists in a lot of Argentine cafes, I really don't see a lot of foreigners talking about it online. Like I said in the introduction, I think this coconut and dulce de leche tart is one of Argentina's best kept secrets. Thanks for watching. If you like this recipe, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also, for more information about Argentine recipes and Southern recipes, please visit my website, parnellthechef.com. And don't forget to follow me on social media. I'm most active on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm trying to think of a unique hashtag for my followers and I to use, so stay tuned. Once again, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye!